Can you smell what The Rock is smacking? Hey, it's Chris Merrill, Joe Huizenga, and a lot of smack talk here over the weekend. I saw a bunch of stories that were really pointed at how bad things are, which struck me as odd. It struck me as a tone that I'm not really accustomed to, Joe. And in fact, I have to tell you this, to be honest, behind the scenes, I'll come in and Joe and I are always fleshing out stories, and we'll talk about what's this and what's this. And Joe always says to me, and he's kind of snapped me out of this, and I appreciate this from him, because it's something I've worked on. I'm trying to be a more positive person in general, instead of a giant jerk face, as my wife likes to say.
You got work to do still.
I do. Mm-hmm. But he says, what's the hope in this? What's the positive on this? Mm-hmm. What's the solution on this?
Yeah, if we just sit here and are just dark rain cloud about everything.
I call it the Festivus, where we just complain about things. It's just a list of grievances.
No, you got to give, someone a reason to believe this is going to get better. There's hope with everything.
So you say that, and then I was looking at some of the stories that came up this weekend, and ignoring U of A, because I think it's easy to just dog on U of A, right? Hey, U of A, go to their business school, learn how to lose $177 million in no time flat. Good job. So aside from that, look at you being quiet as a Sun Devil. I thought you'd jump right on that. You didn't want to do that, huh?
No, I want them to turn it around, too.
Sure.
I do.
Yeah.
I would like to beat them on the athletic field.
Yeah.
My grandparents were U of A fans. I don't have anything against them.
Okay, all right.
If it was Ohio State, it might be a different story, to be fair.
So then I get this. A report lists Phoenix and Tucson among cities with the worst drivers. You find this at KTAR.FM.
Yeah, I think Phoenix was 8th. Tucson was 4th worst drivers in the country. Phoenix was right around 10 or 11 for fatalities while driving. All kinds of terrible stats.
I was surprised to see the number one. I expected it to be like Los Angeles or D.C. You hear about their traffic is really bad.
Uh-huh.
But when they talk about the worst drivers, I was surprised to see Albuquerque was the worst.
Okay.
Yeah. Memphis was the second worst. Detroit, you and I have both driven to Detroit. They're terrible.
The roads are awful, too.
Like you said, Tucson is 4th, and then Kansas City, Missouri, KCMO. I've driven there numerous times. Terrible drivers. But, I was surprised to see that. And then as we were out this weekend, I just saw all the aggression. People are very aggressive on the roads in the valley.
There's a lot of snowbirds, people who are only here part of the year, people who aren't super familiar with what's going on out here. You've got a very transient society, people who might be here for 6 months, couple years, and
you
then
do have
dip.
the spring training visitors right now, right?
But we've got more problems than that going on out here. It's not just the driving. You and I have talked on the air about how there's a huge nursing shortage, and by the year 2025, we're going to be dead last in nurses. We're going to need more than anywhere else in the country.
All right, so we've got the worst drivers. Yeah. We have a shortage of healthcare professionals.
Education, always. I looked it up today. 45th out of 50, which is way better than where Arizona's been.
We are constantly on the list of the worst as far as road rage goes. Not just bad drivers, but angry.
Yeah.
Probably because we don't have any nurses to go to when we have ailments. Right? Probably because we don't have enough education to know how to deal with our emotions.
Classroom spending down from last year.
I'm seeing that. In fact, let me see. Data from the office found overall spending on instruction among all the districts in the state increased by more than $341 million, but overall spending hit nearly up by $1 billion, which they considered COVID relief funds, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
It's just a lot of wonky words here. All right, it's from the Cap Times. They dive too deep into a story. Can you just give me a headline?
Yeah.
Headline is spending is down.
There you go. That's what I said.
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate that. And then... Joe, did you go to the wrestling here over the weekend?
I've been to many a wrestling show.
Yeah.
I was not out at SmackDown out in Glendale on Friday night. And I was bummed because I had a buddy reach out to me and he said, "Did you know The Rock was going to be there?" And I said,
"Was he cooking?"
I said, "I didn't know The Rock was going to be out there, but Chris, he was cooking."
The Rock was cooking?
Oh, you could smell it.
I think I even have them saying that somewhere.
The People's Champ, the energy was palpable.
All right. So, but now, as I understand, though, he has kind of turned into a heel.
It's
the bad guy.
It's code for, yes, a bad guy these days. So you got your faces, which are your good guys, but The Rock, now that he is on the board in real life of both UFC and WWE called TKO, he is real life on the board. He has become a bad guy aligned with WWE's chief bad guy, Roman Reigns.
If you're some man,
was cooking up some crack cocaine here over the weekend.
What?
He was cooking the crack cocaine.
What does crack have to do with The Rock?
You cook crack into rocks, Joe. Everybody knows that.
Explain.
Even I know that, Joe.
Everybody knows that, Joe. Thank you, Deborah. Hold on. Where's the? Am I doing the whole thing? Yeah, here we go. Here's what he had to say while he was at SmackDown.
Apparently, Glendale is 10 miles away from Phoenix.
Whoa, boy, he really got our attention there.
Yeah, we are about 10 miles away from Glendale.
Can you read the map The Rock is looking at?
Assuming the answer is yes, but are there a lot of people from Phoenix here tonight?
One or two.
I knew it, because that would make sense. The Rock did a little research, and here's what he found out.
Yes?
This is the truth. This is a fact. The #1 city in America for cocaine and meth use is Phoenix, Arizona.
Huh.
I
That's
don't
not
know
true.
that I'd cheer.
So Deborah obviously is getting where we're going with this, but I found that hard to believe that we were #1 for cocaine use.
But turns out, according to the American Addiction Center, the largest network of rehab facilities in the U.S., verifies The Rock claims Phoenix is indeed #1 in the U.S. for cocaine use.
All right.
Finally, your life has meaning. Because finally, you cactus-loving crackheads finally have something worth shooting in your veins.
Don't know that I get that part. But that is what The Rock went with. Chris should also point out that Phoenix ranks #1 for methamphetamine use in the U.S. as well. According to the same American Addiction Centers, more than 15% of the population have used meth here in Phoenix.
Finally, The Rock has come back to Arizona.
Did The Rock come back because we have more cocaine?
No. That's always his shtick.
Can we inject the phrase cactus-loving crackheads more often on the program?
I'd prefer we didn't.
All right, so Phoenix is #1, but that's the only city, though, that's in the top 10, though, right, Joe? That's fair to say. So, okay, Phoenix, I guess the whole metro area, all combined, is the #1 for cocaine and meth use,
Mesa
right?
was #2 on both lists as well.
Hold on, time out. Hang on. Okay, so when we say Phoenix, we're only talking about the city, not the whole metro, but just the city of Phoenix.
So just Phoenix. Mesa was 2 on both lists.
Okay.
And Tucson was 9th on the cocaine list and 10th on the meth list. That's all the Arizona cities out there, though, on the list.
Okay. All right. So that's not looking good. As Deborah pointed out, why are people cheering, Joe? Why are we giving it a hoopla around that? The crowd went wild when The Rock dropped that little nugget, and you have to wonder, why are we so proud of our warts?
Thanks for watching The Chris and Joe Show. Click to see more from Chris and Joe, and tap the button in the middle to subscribe to KTAR News.